This is the story of a coastal New Hampshire river, the Lamprey. It travels 47 miles through our backyards and through our history, falling 600 feet to sea level. The Lamprey is one of 5 freshwater fingers that flow into Great and Little Bays, down the Piscataqua River to the Atlantic Ocean. In the early years of European settlement, the Lamprey River was the dividing line between Exeter and Dover, 2 of the 4 original British plantations that became New Hampshire. Once, the river was central to travel, communication, and survival. Today, we've lost these connections to local rivers. Trains, then cars and planes have changed the way we travel. Phones, TV, and now the internet have changed the way we communicate. Coal, oil, and electricity fuel our livelihoods. But we've gained new connections too, endowing the river with new meaning in our lives. Over time, the river has provided its people with homes and food, with transportation and with power, with everything from recreation to refrigeration, as our needs change. And constant through it all, the Lamprey flows seaward. Draining 212 square miles from Northwood to Newmarket, this remarkable natural system carries more water to Great Bay than any other river, in volumes that range from a mere trickle to walls of water under extreme flood conditions as high as 7,570 cubic feet per second. Whether we know the Lamprey or not, it knows us, our history, our lives today, and our futures are all connected with this waterway. The story of the Lamprey is the story of the New Hampshire seacoast. Whenever we travel this close to a river, we are reminded of the Native Americans who knew no cities, towns, states, or borders. By scientific dating of the tools and other archaeological remnants found along the New Hampshire seacoast, archaeologists know that Native Americans occupied this region more than 8,000 years ago. These early residents hunted or trapped local wildlife, fished with traps or weirs made of sticks. They lived in what were probably temporary settlements along the Lamprey until disease spread by European settlers decimated their population. Most of the wildlife the Native Americans depended upon and coexisted with are still found in the watershed today. In the spring, floodplain pools along the length of the river teem with wood frog eggs. Bugs, berries, and the river corridor's lush vegetation provide food for a variety of wild critters. More than 150 species of bird use the river for foraging, nesting, and migration. With a keen eye, you may see signs of the river otter, muskrats, mink, beaver, even moose and bear who live here. Fish thrive in the river. Some return to the Lamprey from the ocean to spawn. Here, state fish and game biologists are measuring river herring and recording their sex and age before they are released upstream. Rare mussels and turtles also find a stronghold in the river corridor, a testament to the river's good health. It is so rich in wildlife and history that portions of the Lamprey River were designated a National Wild and Scenic River in 1996. The river is also protected under the State Rivers Management and Protection Program. Our journey down the Lamprey starts here, at the headwaters in Northwood. The bedrock beneath dates to 500 million years. Melting glaciers provided water during the Ice Age, but another element was needed to keep the river flowing through the millennia: rain. This is where the river begins, at its headwaters in Damien Pond, Meadow Lake, and Betty Meadows. Much of this area is owned by the state of New Hampshire and can be accessed through Northwood Meadows State Park. The 756-acre preserve, with its forests of hemlock, sugar maples, beech, and ironwood, extensive wetland meadows, and Meadow Lake, provides a variety of wildlife habitats. The park offers a haven for human visitors and wildlife alike. From the road, the thin, winding river intermixed with wetlands may appear only at the intersections with small bridges. From the air, the Lamprey may look only like a twisting break in the forest below. As it flows toward the sea, the river widens, creating oxbows or spreading out into the floodplain, always changing. The use we make of any river also changes over time as our need for that river evolves. Originally, only beaver built the dams along the Lamprey. Then came the man-made dams. During the 1700s, at least 8 dams were operated on the Lamprey in Deerfield alone, creating ponds like this one and generating the head-to-run mills. The descendants of colonial mill owner Jacob Fries survived here for 2 centuries before the family mill and farm finally closed. Then a new page was turned. In 1928, Fries's Pond became the center of a whole new idea, a summer camp. The Lone Tree Boy Scout camp taught outdoor skills based loosely on the traditions of Native Americans. The former Fries farm was adapted to include cabins, an infirmary, a mess hall for 100 campers in the barn, and a craft workshop built from a carriage shop. The camp survived until 1943 and represents a unique use that drew youth from Massachusetts to the river.